everyone. Welcome to Testimonial Tuesday. I have a guest here and I'll let her introduce herself. But right before that, I wanted to let you know if you have a story that is positive about Reiki, whether you're a client or a practitioner, please let us know. We'd love to share because that's all we're trying to do is share some positivity. So I'll let my guest introduce herself and tell us about her positive story that she has to share.
Hey everyone, I'm Diana Rayl, and Reiki called to me and found me just this past January. As soon as I saw it, it was funny because it was on CBS this morning. They were doing a little show and interview with the Reiki master, and right away I said, what is this? I've got to find it. Looked it up on Google, found a practitioner close to me, and I went to her. After the first day, we finished up and I said, I need to come back tomorrow. So I went back the next day, and then right away I said I needed class. So I did a little bit through her and then some online stuff, and just felt like I didn't have it all. So then I went to the ICRT and started Holy Fire. So I did Holy Fire 1 and 2 with Chris Valentine. Then I've done Animal Reiki with Pam. I decided I wanted to review 1 and 2 again. So I did that with Karen Keg, and I'm looking really forward to January where I do my master's with Karen. And I'm planning on going to Ecuador for Karuna. So
that is
very
awesome.
excited about that.
Super excited for you. You've had some phenomenal teachers, so that's exciting in itself.
Yes, I am so pleased, and just so pleased with the ICRT program. I think that my goal is going to be a licensed master teacher.
So for anyone who doesn't know, that means the International Center of Reiki Training, just in case they don't know that shortcut. No, but that's exciting. So how has Reiki changed you or your life?
Reiki has been amazing for me. It's like, where do you start? Before Reiki, I had been in a place where I was really angry. I didn't like where I was living. I'm very happily married. It wasn't any of that. It was just, I just felt angry. Part of it was where we had moved to a new area, moved back to Texas. I've never been a fan of Texas, but we needed to move back. It turned out that we needed to move back for a reason. I say everything, the universe is working. My mother's dementia started getting worse. So I ended up bringing her to a facility near me. So for the past 2 years, along with the facility, I cared for her. So it was very special. She passed recently, but to be there and have those last 2 years with her, I couldn't have asked for more. So that's why the universe brought me to Texas, and we're moving back to Reno. So I think, I completed what I needed to do. And so we're on our way back. Oh gosh, where were we? What was the question?
Oh, just how Reiki's changed your life.
Oh, how Reiki's changed my life. Okay. So when we came to Austin, I was pretty angry. And I'm angry, about my mother. There was just a lot of pent up. As soon as I started Reiki, it was like, it was just taken off me. The anger went away. My life began to be filled with joy. I was finding happiness in everything, started making new friends. It was just like a total change in my life. My husband noticed things. He's thrilled for me to see how things have changed and how happy I am. So I think that Reiki has brought around joy to my life, joy that had been missing. That I think would be the #1 thing I would say.
Well, let me be the first to say I'm extremely sorry for the loss of your mom. I know for women, that's typically the worst, the biggest loss that we have is our mom. And what I can honestly say from personal experience that Reiki has helped me tremendously with grief. So that's one of the things it's been amazing for me. So I'm so glad that it's been so life-changing for you and it's done so many phenomenal things in your life.
I think that Reiki has definitely helped me with the grief process.
Mhm.
My mother, I see it was time for her to go. And I guess I'm very sad to lose her, but there's also that relief and thank you to the universe for letting her go, letting her leave that body, which was doing no good to her. Let her spirit, be out there.
Dementia is such a hard thing to deal with, and it's so I think it's just as equally hard as the person who has it as the people that love them and watching them slip away and not even be themselves anymore.
Right. No,
So
I agree with that.
I completely feel you with your, I have so much compassion for you having to go through that because it's really, it's a really hard thing for someone to experience. But I'm so grateful at the same time that you had something that would help benefit from like not having to deal with grief without any kind of like Reiki is almost like a support system.
It is, isn't
People
it?
don't
Yeah.
have. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I think that it made a huge difference in understanding life. And I was doing well with her having the Alzheimer's when we first moved here. And I visit and I would do activities. I wanted to be close to her. But once I got Reiki, it really just again, the joy of being there with her. I didn't have as much sadness about it. And to be in the facility and to just hold people's hands and they would look at me and know something was going on. And even if I wasn't intentionally just beaming Reiki to them, they would notice something and they would just look into my eyes. And it's a wonderful feeling.
Well, thank you so much. Did you have anything else that you wanted to share any more about your story or?
About my story personally, I look forward so much with Reiki. We came here for the positive experience. So I've got a fun, just short little thing. So when you're ready to talk about that, I can.
Oh
share
yeah,
my.
you're more than welcome. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. All right. This was so cool because, I really in June, I started really working with people and I just do friends or people that I've met that I know would be interested in it. And so I call her, I guess I call her a client. And I was working with her and she had a lot of trauma. So I kind of asked her and I said, where do you feel like you're holding this trauma? And she pointed to her solar plexus. And I said, okay. So if you're holding it in there, what does it look like in there? What's the shape of this? What's the color of this that's in there? And she told me that it was this green ball. I'm like, okay. So going down her body, started at the head. I'm working my way down, just kind of getting down there, and I get my hands on there. And this totally took me by surprise. I never would have imagined this in my life. This just threatening looking, sorry, there's something flying around here. Threatening looking face on a green ball just kind of went at me. And I was like, just like, what in the world? So I just kept my hands on and just telling it, you're not needed here anymore. It's okay for you to go. You can let go. And I could feel it fight me for a little bit. But then I felt it releasing. And then I felt that it was gone. And just that relaxed feeling. And talk about joy to be able to have that happen to you and to be able to let it go and to know that you've helped your client in that way. That meant the world to me. I mean, for someone who hasn't been practicing for a long time, that was a tremendous experience to just say, yes, you're good at this. You can do
Yes.
this.
Yes. And that's what we need everybody to understand. You don't have to have any kind of special gifts. Anyone can learn Reiki and you'll be able to have the opportunity to help people. You don't have to have any kind of special experience or anything like that. And that's what's so amazing about it, because people have to remember that when we do Reiki, we're just a vessel.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody can be a vessel. So that's what
Yep.
makes it awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great experience. I've loved every minute of it. Each friend or client that I'm working with, to watch the transition, as we talk about it, and, for them to give me feedback on how I'm getting stronger. And, I try different things. Do we want to start with an invocation? Do we want to start with a journey? How do we want to start this? And work with them to find, really, for me, what ends up being the best, how I will give a Reiki session, because everybody's Reiki session is different. So I'm finding what works for me.
Yep. And honestly, that's exactly how it is for every single person. So even though we're taught the exact same way, you will adapt it to what feels right to you, what your intuition tells you to do. So some people will just do Reiki with nothing else. And some people will do Reiki with possibly essential oils infused into the session. Some people might use crystals, and there's no right or wrong. It's whatever feels right to you and whatever your intuition tells you to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. Sometimes I'll be doing a session and I'll come across one of the chakras, and it'll tell me to start saying an affirmation. And I will start saying that affirmation. And one time I was doing, let me think what it was, confident, strong, and I am confident, strong, and I am enough. So on the solar plexus. And my hands went there, and it was like, I just, without thinking, started chanting it to myself. When we got done with the session, my client was like, I really feel like I need to start being more creative again, doing stuff with my hands. And I was like, that is so perfect. It was like Reiki was telling me, you need to let her know it's in her brain somewhere. It's in her solar plexus that, she wants to do more. And you know what? I just realized it was the sacral. That's the
Yes.
creative.
Yep.
It was the sacral. I'm sorry. I had messed
Oh,
up on
that's
that.
okay. That's okay.
Sacral. So I do passionate, positive, and creative.
I
So
like
I
it.
do different ones. So I probably was thinking of a different one. So, but no, she was back and she's like, I want to start doing stuff with my hands again. I want to be more creative. So after doing that affirmation, passionate, positive, and creative, that was another one of those, wow, but something that you totally don't expect, but
But
something told me to do it.
the universe put you in the right place with the right person that needed it.
Exactly. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
people are just starting out, just keep going, experiment. That's the great things about doing it with your friends, is they're willing to give you feedback. And
I always hear so many people that are starting out saying, I don't have the confidence, and they don't realize that they could give Reiki to that. Give Reiki to your confidence.
mm-hmm.
When you
Yeah.
learn that, you can literally give Reiki to anything, because you're taught that you can Reiki your food, you can Reiki your water, you can Reiki yourself, you can Reiki your house, the animals, but you also can do stuff like that. If you're stressed out, Reiki that stress, you
Oh,
know?
let me tell you what, we're moving and I am stressed, and I am like, Reiki, I see some of the things that you put down to say, and I'm like repeating them, and I'm just like, just see my power symbol hanging from the ceiling, spinning and spreading light.
Yes, that's my favorite way. And I actually, Kathy had it, Kathy, we used to do, Reiki shares, and we would literally have people from all over the world, because you
Mm.
didn't have to be any certain lineage or type of Reiki. And it was this beautiful woman from India that taught me about how to put the symbols on a ceiling fan that you're imagining. And I have never, and ever since then, I use that all the time. I especially use it when I do house blessings. I'll envision
Yeah,
a
that's a
fan and
great
it's
idea.
blowing all of it all over the whole house.
Yeah. Yeah. Here in the office, I always have it from the ceiling fan going and
Yeah.
it's filling the room.
Yeah. So it's just so amazing. And I hope that when people learn Reiki, it does give them the confidence and that they can learn that it not only helped them, but and it gives them the ability to help other people. And that's always such an amazing thing.
It's always those first few sessions where, you're sitting there and you're almost shaking because you're nervous, am I doing this right? And then, you realize, okay, afterwards they'll say, yeah, and then you do that person again and you're feeling more confident.
Mhm.
And by the third time, you're just there, just
Yeah.
doing it. Thing is, just when they sit up and they go, wow, I saw this, and the different things that they may see just blow me away. Or when we see the same thing,
Mhm.
that's what really gets me.
I went to for some reason my spirit said to tell the story. I went to a meditation, and I like to take any little possibility I can, especially if I'm meditating, to use Reiki, because like that's a phenomenal thing. Reiki yourself and meditate at the exact same time. And this meditation I was at, it was for the full moon, so it was about releasing what doesn't serve you.
Mhm.
And so there was like 20 people sitting around doing this meditation together. And my friend was sitting right next to me. And then all of a sudden, I could see her aura and I could see purple. So when we got done with the meditation, I hurried up and looked um, up what purple aura meant.
Mhm.
And as soon as she got done, she looked at me and she goes, for some reason, I kept getting the color purple. And then I showed her my phone how I had looked that up. I said, that's because I saw that all around you right now. And so, like you said, it was just such a coincidence that we both, even though she didn't even know I was Reikiing myself, but just like my energy was expanding and it kind of got in her
Mhm.
space and it allowed me to see her aura while and so that's the first thing that came to my mind was purple. And she must have picked that up too, because we were both all in that purple and it was just amazing.
I was doing one time, and we had talked again about shapes and colors and everything. And this one friend of mine, she had a death in the family. And so she felt like she had like this rock in her chest. And so after a session, she felt like the rock had broken into 3 smaller pieces. So it was getting smaller. So then another session, we went in and I was over the heart and I could see like this little hammer chipping away at it. And inside was a rose quartz. And she said, so I asked her afterwards and I said, how's your rocks? And she goes, they're turning into rose quartz. So another just cool thing where you connect,
Yes.
you know?
So that's what's great about being the vessel, is because the universe is going to provide you what you need. You don't have to, and that's what's so great that about not having, a lot of people think, well, I don't have any special gifts. How am I going to do that? Try it. The universe is going to provide for you what you need. Like
Mhm.
in it's just I love hearing that over and over because you hear that from so many different people.
Yeah. No, yeah. People need to try it. If you try it and you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm doing it right, just keep going. You're doing it.
I agree. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. If you ever get some more amazing stories, I'd love to have you on at a later date and we can share more.
Oh, I love talking about it.
Yeah. Okay, everybody. Again, this was Testimonial Tuesday. I am Rhonda Hart. My guest, thank you so much for being on. And if you would love to share a positive story about a Reiki experience, whether you're a client or a practitioner, please let me know. I'd love to share this with you. I hope that you all have a blessed day.